give us the burn. Don't give us just a die. We try our best. And we're successful. Don't want us to. Big River sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Welcome aboard, everyone, to Betting Weekly Live. I thought you'd frozen there, Jack. It is the Friday, the 23rd of May, and it is a special birthday for Betting Weekly Live. We are 200 not out, Jack. What an occasion to celebrate. As I say, you with Steve Wyss and Jack Wright for this one. How's it going?
Absolutely fantastic. Welcome. Hi. Thanks, Steve. And welcome everyone else. That was what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. I was on the first live show with Nigel 200 shows ago, or 199
really
shows ago.
Incredible, don't we? You were on the 100th as well, on the 150th. I don't know. Maybe you were.
Yeah, we'll say it anyway. I don't think. Well, I'm sure we've got the live show addicts that will go. Actually, he wasn't. He was on the 151st. It was Simon Holden on the 150th.
Oh,
so yeah, we'll see. I was just chilling out, Foxy. By the way, I was just chilling out to those soothing vibes that Steve set up for the Friday show.
That was the speed metal intro. I thought we'd have something, upbeat and tempo-ish for the 200th episode. But welcome in, everyone. I hope you had a great week. ZT, Rick Haley, Steve from Lynn. Foxy, good to see you, of course. Damon Wilson, welcome into the chat. And it's been an interesting week, hasn't it, Jack? Because for me, I said it on the Betting Weekly Extra Time. It's a bit bittersweet at the end of the main soccer seasons in Europe. Of course, they continue around the world, but both the Premier League show and Betting Weekly Extra Time have been released. There's been some great comments and feedback so far. So thanks very much to everyone who's been watching. I don't think I've ever seen you so happy in an episode of Premier League before, Jack, when you were talking about Ipswich. You were absolutely delighted talking about the Tractor Boys. Looking forward to the two fixtures next season, no doubt, against the Norwich. But, these are interesting times. We've got a massive Serie A title battle tonight. We're going to talk about that. A rogue La Liga game as well. And, of course, it's a massive weekend in the playoffs. We've got the Championship playoff final, a match which is possibly worth up to $300 million now, which is absolutely absurd. And, of course, the League One playoff match. We're going to get Jack's thoughts on both of those games as well. Yesterday's winners and losers. The biggest bet was in the tennis, and it was a loser, sadly. Alexei Popyrin live on the money line against Cam Noddy. That was a loser. Biggest soccer bet, and I had to look this up. This was $25,000 on Altinordu versus Batman Petrolspor. Do you know what Batman Petrolspor is from?
Sounds Romanian.
So I'll actually guess. Anyway, $25,000 was live on this match, under 1.5 goals in the and that was a winner at -715.
Well done, Nigel.
So what a name that is. You know.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me where Batman Petrolspor were from. Romania or...
Well, the thing is, they're actually from, you wouldn't believe this, the city called Batman, right?
Well, makes sense.
Right. And this is Turkish football, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. I never would have known. Batman Petrolspor, what a name. I've never heard of that team, but $25,000 was staked on it. $22,000 was staked on Heidenheim Elversberg, live as well. Loads of live bets. And that was under 2.5 goals in the first half at -835, and that was a winner.
Did you play that game, Steve? Because I know you're such good friends with Heidenheim.
What did it end in the end? Because I was on the golf course at the time.
Oh.
I saw Heidenheim were 2-0 down, right? And I thought, happy days. I want them down. I don't want them anywhere near the Bundesliga next season because I always lose on their games. And then I saw they pulled it back to 2-2. They're one of the most annoying teams that I hate them. I can't. 2-2 it ended. Watch them somehow survive next week now in the second leg. They never know when they're beating that team.
No. They they were a good price to win the second half. Or 1-2 and 2-0 down, to go on to win from there. But they did. At least they won the XG battle, Steve. So I did think of you when I checked that out. I thought, oh look, they deserve to be winning this, but they were 2 down and actually were ahead on possession, on shots, on an XG.
They actually win the
probably
XG battle, but don't win the game. That is so Heidenheim.
Yeah.
When they win games, they never win the XG battle. They never win the stats battles. They're a very frustrating side. They never win the eye test either, but they get results. Welcoming Adam Thompson. Steve from Lynn said the Twente game was very good. There has been a game bet match which has just been released, and you might enjoy what Sean Calver has to say, says Nigel. So yeah, French Open, of course, very much on the horizon now. And the biggest matches on the slate today in the soccer world are in Serie A. The title will be decided today, and it's either going to be Napoli. Well, no, it might not be. It could go to a playoff game. I don't think it will. For that to happen, we've got to see Napoli lose against Cagliari and Como into to end a draw. I'll be very, very surprised, personally, if that happens. Me and James give our thoughts on the Serie A title battle on the extra time show. But let's just start with Napoli here against Cagliari. All Napoli need to do is win the game, and they will be the champions of Serie A. Antonio Conte, it really reminds me what he did when he came in the Premier League with Chelsea. Won the league immediately. They had no European football that season. It wasn't a great Chelsea side, was it? It was a decent one. Was it Hazard, I think, was involved around then? It was a good Chelsea side. It wasn't anything special. And then the next, they just fell off a cliff. And I think Leicester actually won the Premier League title the next season. But Napoli here, they should get the job done for me. I mean, I don't think you're not going to get Rich back in at minus 590. But is that your sort of thing? Then maybe you can get involved. I mentioned on the show this week we did with James that I think the goal line is a little bit too high here, or was. But now I think it's now over and under 3 on the Asian line looks more fair to me. I personally see Napoli winning this to 0. Probably 2-0 would be my most likely score. I just don't. It's the perfect fixture you want on the final game. Cagliari, who are renownedly poor away from home. Can you see them putting up any resistance here and Napoli faltering? Not
really. No, I think this is one of those ones that you kind of feel that you want to get involved in, but the traders have got it right. That's their job after all. And I just think that you'd expect Napoli to win it and win it pretty cozily, which possibly will then have a knock-on impact on the other game. I think that might be the one to attack if you're looking at the more traditional lines. Because if Napoli go a couple of goals up here, you can imagine what it's going to turn out to be like, and it's especially if they get a couple of early goals. Conte's suspended for this one, isn't he? He's not in the dugout. So is that going to? Do you think that'll have any impact whatsoever? Because obviously he is one of those guys that is very, very animated on the touchline, so he's not going to be there. Do you think they'll have any impact on this whatsoever?
I think it was if it was a really big game in terms of like opponent, say against Inter. Of course, I think it could make a difference. But if he can't prepare a match plan for Cagliari at home, I know it's a title decider, and then something's wrong. Something's going badly wrong. He will find a way to messages to players if he has to anyway. I'll tell you now. This is Italian football. This is not.
Yeah.
He'll find his way into the dressing room at half time by hook or by crook.
Yeah.
Secret entrance or something, or in
the linen basket, like El Jose. But I felt that this sums up, doesn't it? That there's no way this would happen in the Premier League in England. There's no way they'd go, oh, you've got big games coming up. We're going to bring the title decider forward a day. It'd be like you're still going to be playing Sunday. That wouldn't change the structure, would it? I assume that's the reason why they're playing these.
Well, yeah, they need. It's in case of a playoff, isn't it?
As well, yeah.
That is unlikely to happen, personally. I mean, I still think under is a good option here. I mean, someone's put in their SW. It's not my alias account. Welcome in SW. Napoli and under 4.5 goals. I mean, that does look good play.
I looked at it, mate, and it's a real prohibitive odds. So I looked at that angle and put it this way: Napoli and under 3.5 is minus 134. Right. So that would be your angle in on that side of it. In my opinion, I wouldn't want to be backing it anything at longer odds than that. But I think it's very similar for Napoli win to 0. So choose your medicine really on that one. Do you think Napoli are going to keep a clean sheet? Are Cagliari going to be non-interested and therefore don't score? Or are you happy to take a more of a tighter kind of low scoring win for Napoli and therefore that comes in at minus 134?
Is there any player props that you caught your eye for this game or not?
Yeah, there is. And someone's mentioned him already, a man who's had a brilliant season. I'm sure he's probably kicking himself that he's left Old Trafford to come to Napoli and win the Scudetto here. But it is Scott McTominay, over 1.5 shots on target, plus 190 is the bet. So you could like water that down, I guess, and do a same game parlay with Napoli to win and a one Scott McTominay shot on target. That would potentially give you something a bit more tasty. But I'll go and just down the route that I think he's going to cap his season off, which has been a phenomenal one. I think they've been pleasantly surprised with just what they've got from McTominay. I think it's also kind of pushed them a little bit to come and taste pick up those fringe players from the Premier League. Again, they've been linked with 2 or 3 players that might be a little bit of a surprise, but I think he's just done really well this season. 11 goals, 4 assists in 33 appearances. He's had 32 shots on target across the campaign. That's one every 89 minutes. So just as a general broad sweeping average, that's obviously one a game, which is decent. A slightly lower average shot on target per minute just in home games. But in recent games, he's had 12 shots on target his last 6 home league starts. So that ticks the box that we're looking for here for him to have 2 or more shots on target. He's had 2 or more in 5 of those last 6 as well. So in really, really good form. Is the reverse fixture, if you're wondering, like how does that compare with how he got on against them last time out, was his first appearance for Napoli. Actually, he was on the bench for that one, came off it and had 16 minutes, so didn't have enough time to impact it. But I think from how he's playing at the moment, he seems to fit into this side really well. Really enjoying his regular game time. And over 1.5 shots on target would be the one for me at plus 190.
He's had a great season. He's been a great signing. It seems as soon as anyone leaves that Old Trafford exit door, they do rather well these days, don't they? We could get the McTominay could be winning the Serie A title. Anthony could win a European trophy with Real Betis. I've probably missed a couple of others as well.
Yeah,
I
do have one for the visitors as well, just like for balance, really. It's always a risk, isn't it? When you go in, we're all expecting Napoli to win this and win this well. So you're potentially taking on a player to have a shot on target here for a team that potentially have next to no interest in the game whatsoever, just want to get it done with, and therefore don't have many as a team combined. That is Roberto Piccoli. He's on loan from Atalanta, which I think for me, it would be, given his price, it was a little bit higher actually this morning. It has come in a little bit, but it's still plus money. It's plus 104 just for 1 or more shots on target. And he says he's on loan from Atalanta, which for me would give me enough reason to play this in the fact that he has something to play for personally. Is it to the fact he's been on loan 2 or 3 times, hasn't he, in Serie A, different clubs? And it's like, is he going to be able to get the chance at Atalanta, or is it a time for him to move on and get a permanent move somewhere else? So I think given the way he's ended the season, which has been pretty strong, he's got enough motivation to probably do something in this game. He scored at the weekend a header as his 5th header of the season. No other player in Serie A has scored more headers than him. But that was his 10th goal, and that's the first time he's hit double figures in his career. So that's a little bit of a mini milestone for him. He'll want to carry on with that. He had 9 shots in that game last weekend against Venezia. 2 of those were on target, and so he did score. And obviously that was the game that effectively rubber stamped their safety for the season, wasn't it? So obviously a threat in the air. Stands about 6'1", 6'2", I think, something like that. And so it was his 3rd goal in 5 games, so 10 for the season. As I say, it was decent. He's had at least 1 shot on target in his last 6 league games across all venues, and he's had 12 shots on target in his last 8 appearances. 9 shots on target. This is the point I like, is going and drilling into the detail of what they like when they're playing away from home. On the road, 9 shots on target in his last 5 road trips. That includes against, and this is another key element, top 8 sides. Inter Milan, he had 3 shots on target in that one. Against Roma, he had 3 shots on target in that one, and this is all away as well. And he also had a shot on target against Bologna. So he's had at least 1 shot on target in all of those last 5 road trips. So all the stats and everything add up. The only question mark about it is, of course, the motivation factor for him and his teammates. But I say it was too good a price for me for their kind of main man at the moment to let pass by.
So it's Piccoli and McTominay for you on the player props in this game.
It is.
And, I'm just going to go through here. 95% of the money is on Napoli. As you might expect, 96% of the tickets, and in the over-under market, there has been 68% of the money on the over. we've got an interesting prop playing nearly $2,000 on Cagliari over 2.5 corners at -145. So that's an interesting one there. Just going through some of the comments. Steve from Lynn says Napoli in under 2.5. So he's looking at the 1-0, 2-0, and Adam Thompson, Napoli to win by 1 or 2 goals at +110 appeals. And Foxy, the handicap, you can get -2 on the Asian line at evens now, Foxy. You could probably get a decent sort of -1.75 Asian handicap if you look closely. Ming Chung, Napoli have been wobbling. They have been, and I think there is a few that are a little bit not convinced by them right now. But if they can't win this game, they deserve not to win the title. Simple as that, Ming, in my opinion. Gratzer, great to see you in chat. Any thoughts on Tony's record to the England team? I'd imagine that Thomas Tuchel's thinking about penalties, things like that. I mean, that bloke doesn't miss penalties, does he? But I know he's been in good form out there in wherever it's Saudi Arabia, isn't it? But yeah. Might he maybe make a return to the main European league at some point? I rate the player. I've always rated him, Ivan Toney. There's a lot of question marks about where he's playing his soccer right now. But
I think for me also, Tuchel might well be looking at it and going, well, like some of these players have had long, hard seasons. We always talk about overworking them. It's like you go and have some time away, have some time off. Bring in those kind of fringe players or players that might not necessarily be looking to play in, in his regular squads. And also, he's all about the World Cup, isn't he? Let's face it. So that's his remit. Go and win the World Cup. So I think pretty much everything outside of that is a little bit second rate for him. So he'll want to have a look at some players. He's maybe not, in his time in England, and he's not seen too much of Ivan Toney. Obviously, scoring goals over there. He scored goals in the Premier League. Yeah, why not? Bring him back in, and if we've got a bit of a vacancy in that area at the moment, bring him in. But I assume the conversation will be when it comes to the crunch. I'm not sure you're in the right place to be, prolonging your international career.
In January or something like that, December, it might be talking about that. England are in a completely win now situation. They're not bothered about building for the future, tactics, not bothered about style performances. It's about winning the World Cup only. Which is an interesting, often in recent years, it's been about building projects and things like that. It's now a win now window. Anyway, back to Serie A. It's Como, Inter. Should Napoli slip up, Inter, we've got to be there to try and take advantage. Como, they've had a great finish to the season. Como, they've been in brilliant form. I mean, they've had a great season, full stop, to be fair. They're actually now +370. They've been backed. The ties at +320 and Inter are -162. -162 Inter on the money line will interest quite a lot of people. Over 2.5 goals, -182 now. I really like both teams to score here at -159. I advised that on my newsletter pick this week on the Insider, which should be in your inboxes now. And if it's not, then it will be in there soon. But I've got some theories on this game, and you mentioned it at the top of the show there, Jack. The problem I have with backing Inter is if Napoli get off to a fast start, which is possible, and say at half-time they're 2-0 up and Inter still drawing, are they really going to believe? Are they really going to go for it that much? They've got a Champions League final to look forward to as well, let's not remember. Now, I'm not saying Inter won't win, and they're definitely the favourites for a reason, but there's a lot more danger, I think, involved with them pre-game. They might even get ahead, and then word comes through, 2-0, 3-0 Napoli. The tools are downed a little bit. And Como, Cesc Fabregas, where's he going to end up, Jack? He's been linked with several. He's going to know the world's eyes are on him here. I don't think Como will lack for motivation, and certainly the manager will be up for it. So, you got any thoughts on the money lines here? Would you back Inter at -162?
No, I wouldn't for those reasons. Just quickly, while I remember, Foxy asked about the Asian line. It is actually now -1.75, and you're getting about -130 for that. So that would be appealing for the Napoli game. That would appeal to me on that. To be honest, I think they will win by a couple. Back to this one, and I put down, as far as the money line is concerned, I plumped for the tie for the reasons what you've now talked about there. I can't see Napoli slipping up. I think there is a good chance that they'll come out of the traps fast against a side that their job is done. They've guaranteed survival. They score a goal, 2 goals, get ahead. If that's early in the piece, then as you say, Inter are like, well, there's absolutely nothing for us to go for here, because our Cagliari are going to come back and force anything from that. Very, very unlikely. So, yeah, I settled on the tie because it could well become a dead rubber quite quickly into this. And as you rightly say, it's not just if it was let's win this game and see where we are. I'd be more inclined to get with Inter, but the double caveat for this is that Champions League final next Saturday. They will clearly, as any player out there, is not going to want to miss that one. So at any point in time, I think it looks like it's game over in Naples. This one, for me, becomes a dead rubber, and that would bring into the tie or even a Como win here. And Como have got a decent record against the top 6 in Serie A, haven't they? I think they're taking points off all of them, bar Inter at this moment in time. So, be it at home or away. So, this would be a nice little kind of full set for them if they were to get a tie or even beat Inter in this one. So, it'd be quite good for them. Brilliant season, as a side there, and with Cesc Fabregas in charge, done superbly well. So, fair play to them on that.
Charlie makes a point here. Interesting that Como's manager, former player of Conte. I personally didn't remember that, but I'm guessing Fabregas was at Chelsea in that season, was he?
Point.
I can't remember exactly, but yeah, very good point, Charlie. He's gonna Antonio Conte. I'm sure he's been on the phone and said, "Right, do it for me like you used to do it for me." But I mean, look, listen. I'm just looking through the breakdowns of the money here. 98% of the money on the money lines on Inter Milan. There's no surprise. Just 55% of the money on the over, which surprises me a little bit. I mean, Como score goals. They've scored at least one goal, I think, in 17 out of 18 Serie A games. The one game that they didn't score, I was on both teams score. Yes, I said that on the Euro show this week. But they've been good for a goal of Como, not necessarily multiple goals, but they do carry a threat. And
I love sides like that, Steve. We've got a couple in the Premier League that you kind of slip under the radar a little bit because they aren't scoring hatfuls of goals. They kind of come away from the fact that you're like in your both teams to score or your overs games, but they always contribute a goal. And obviously that's half the battle won as far as both teams scores concerned, but also very much helps if you're playing in the overs lines. So there are. And what was the last time they haven't been beaten, have they, Como, since mid March against the other Milan side? So I've gone with it's what I've said before about at the end of the season, teams can be beached, but you can get sides that love the freedom of being safe and nothing to play for. Pressure's off their shoulders, and Como have thrived in this environment. So what would you say from a betting perspective on this game? Anything you really like? There's a player prop I like, actually, which is, again, obviously team news dependent, but again, it's a Como angle in for the reasons we've now talked about. It could become all about them after 20, 30 minutes of this if the results go elsewhere. It's for Strefezza to have over 0.5 shots on target. Gabriel Strefezza. And that's plus 143, which I think is a brilliant price. It scored in 3 straight games prior to that 1-1 draw with Verona at the weekend. But he posted a shot on target in all of those games, starting one of them on the bench as well. 22 shots on target across the campaign, averaging one every 115 minutes. So not far out of a straight average, saying that we're going to be able to expect a shot on target from him in the game. Shot on target in 5 of his last 6 starts in all competitions across all venues. And he's a little bit of a home player. His last 3 of his last 4 goals, have come on home soil. So, again, drilling into the detail of what his shot on target rate is like when he's playing at home. 9 shots on target his last 10 home league starts, with at least 1 in 7 of those. So all stacks up into a game where it could well be, as you say, a bit free flowing, especially as far as Como are concerned. They'll go and just say, well, we're going to attack this. Or if it gets to a point where Inter aren't really interested in it, they can maybe go and it's still a scout for them, isn't it? Be it at the end of the season in a dead rubber, or be it at the midpoint of the season. They want to take that scalp, end the season on a high. Fabregas stock high, goes out in good style. So yeah, I'm positive on Como here for more than one reason.
Yeah, I mean, Foxy's put in the chat there. Don't overcomplicate and do Inter and Napoli money line. And if you do like them both to win, absolutely do that. Don't even think about handicaps. But for me, there is that danger if Napoli do get ahead very, very quickly. and Inter might struggle a bit. So that would be my...
You're cheering the Napoli win on, aren't you? If you're on that bet, you're going, oh, brilliant. Napoli are 3-0 up inside 15 minutes. And then you go, oh, now what are Inter going to do? And you've got to hope that their pride kicks in rather than anything else. But yeah, that not for me. But again, as you say, if you're strong on the fact that Inter are just going to be professional and get the job done, then crack on. There's too many doubts for me. And so the caveat of what's happening in Naples and also what's going to be happening next weekend as well.
Minus 105 for one shot on target there. Would you play that number, Jack, or not? Is that you wanted plus money, really, didn't you? At least, surely, for that particular player.
Well, he's plus 143, so I'd it's borderline. I'd want plus money. Yeah, I'd plus 100 really, to be fair, in this sort of game. But yeah, so the answer to that is no.
Byron has got it on good authority that Inter is rotating and will start to Lautaro getting rest, so he is like a drawable chance, basically. I mean, that wouldn't shock me if they did even rotate a couple, keeps them on the bench, just in case news came through that the title's there.
Hey, absolutely right. Why not do it the other way around? Say, well, look, let's see what happens over there. If they race into a lead, then we're kept our powder dry and we're good to go next weekend. And if we're still, if there's a shock happening over there, then they've got the ability to maybe change it at half time or something like that. So I did wonder if that was going to be a bit of a case, but I'll trust Byron's good authority that they will rotate a few out, and that makes our plays even stronger. And it's interesting if there's some late money just ahead of team news. Keep an eye on that. If you see a little bit of obviously we've highlighted the fact there's a little bit of traction that way at this moment in time. If that continues, that seems to be possibly a little bit of a sign.
Notable live streams today. We've got Cluj against FCSB in Romania, 3 Austrian Bundesliga matches, 5 Irish Premier Division games. We've got, of course, the tennis from ATP Hamburg and PDC Dutch Championship darts. There was actually a $25,000 play on a darts match yesterday on Chris Dobie on the money line to beat Luke Humphreys at plus 163. Unfortunately, it lost. But quite a big play on the darts there yesterday. And you can watch the darts live stream today. And another match you can watch live streaming on the BetRivers app or website is in La Liga, a rogue La Liga game, Real Betis against Valencia. The reason this is on Friday is to give Real Betis the best chance of preparation for the Europa Conference League final against Chelsea on Wednesday in Poland. I think this is a bit of a head scratcher, Jack. I've got to be honest. I don't get why Real Betis are minus money here. They're minus 103 now, at the time of recording, to beat Valencia. Valencia plus 260. And the ties at plus 255 now, over 2.5 goals. I'm really surprised that's as short as minus 162. I don't understand this because, look, the way I see it, Real Betis, they've got nothing to play for now in the league, but they've got everything to play for in the Conference League final coming up. So surely you would not take unnecessary risks with certain players. Even the players that are on the field are not going to want to get stuck in, get injured.
Yeah.
The only player that I think is really worth looking at from the Real Betis point of view is Cucho Hernandez, because he's inactive for the final. He's not eligible to play in the final, and he's plus 170 to score. So we know he's going to be fired up. He's the one player we can probably trust for shots on target, things like that. And he should last the 90 minutes unless he gets injured. But, I mean, I would not back Real Betis at minus money here. Valencia, for me, the value on the Tino bet. The problem is Valencia have just lost the last 2 games 1-0, and you are kind of wondering, are they on that Valencia beach a bit? I see this being a really drab game, low tempo. I don't think this could be 0-0 even. I don't see many goals in it. But, I mean, I'm just scratching my head. I'm not saying Valencia should be the favourites, but I thought Betis would be at least plus 125, plus 130, considering what is at stake in the final next week. I mean, that's how I see it. Maybe there's someone out there with some inside knowledge on this game with the starting lineups, but surely it's all in on the Conference League final, Jack.
Yeah, I thought so. I looked at it on that basis that they can't go up, they can't go down. They're going to finish 6th. They've done everything they need to do for the season, and now it's a case of, as you say, with especially being Wednesday as well, not even next Saturday or Sunday, then that's got to be the priority. So it's a shame Valencia lost their last couple. So my eyes were drawn to both teams to score no. but that price is way out of my ball playing swing. So I was scratching my head like you were as well, to be perfectly honest. I didn't see any player props I liked, and say I was generally looking to focus on Valencia players for the reasons that you talked about there. It's a proper conundrum. And as boring as it is, as far as the live show is concerned, to say it, it's just one that I couldn't find a bet in at all, anywhere, shape, or form. So yeah, I don't know. Did you find anything that you liked?
I'm just actually playing around on the Bet Rivers website here with an SGP. I mean, how does this sound, Jack? Cucho Hernandez over 0.5 shots on target, Valencia draw double chance, and under 3.5 goals plus 325. I mean, that sounds about right to me. And we don't even need to cheer on the goal for Cucho. But that, under 3.5 covers quite a lot of scorelines, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I just don't see how this is going to be like 3-3 now, something, isn't it? But I just don't see why it would be. Harry,
the only way is if Betis come in and go, well, we've completely rotated everyone out, and their players come in and it's a different. But we've seen that with sides. It's very hard for a whole load of fringe players to come in and have a positive impact across the board. So, yeah, again, if I had to do anything here, I'm down that route. I think definitely set up a few little legs on that. And if you want to cheer the game on, if you're watching the game, then to do it that way. And it's a good price. I like what you've done there.
Harry Doherty, KTP versus Hacker in play over 2.5 goals. That is the Finnish Vikings League. That's a match that's on live right now. So if you want to bet on something live on the Bet Rivers website, you can take that pick. 33 minutes have gone. KTP 0, Hacker 0. He's saying get on over 2.5. So it must be absolutely wide open, that game, Harry.
Good old Katy Perry.
But, what was I going to say? I've lost track here because of that Finnish game. But yeah, that's it. Even if the Real Betis 11 is strong, that wouldn't concern me as a Valencia backer, because I just don't think that all them players are going to last on the field. There'll be a plan in place to take them off. And they're just no one. The last thing anyone wants to do is get injured. This is the massive game for Real Betis coming up against Chelsea. Do you give them a chance in that, Jack, by the way? Do you think Chelsea? I don't think Chelsea are an absolute banker or a lock to win that.
Mate, I've not been super strong on Chelsea all season, really. They've had a good run. Generally speaking, it's at home. Oh, yes, we'll talk about it in Europe, but they've not really played in any. It was always going to be the semi-final and final, really. They were going to come up against anyone half decent. Other than that, it's been pretty much a bye all the way through. And at home, they're strong. They've been very consistent. But on the road, I think I said it on the Premier League show. I'm trying to remember the stat off the top of my head, but I think it's only 1 win in 10 on the road for Chelsea in the league. And Betis have got threats, haven't they? They've got players that can cause them damage. So, look, I think, it's not as one-sided as a lot of people are making out. And I do give them a shout in this, a puncher's chance, shall we say.
Yeah, me too. And Cucho is definitely out of that final, Steve, from Lynn. He's just ineligible. They couldn't register him from the window. I think Anthony had to be included in that squad, and maybe someone else, or he didn't get there in time. I don't know what the actual answer is, but he's not eligible for the Conference League. Just looking at the Vikings Liga table actually now. KTP down in 11th, Hacker 9th. Team called Cups are top of that table, 7 wins out of 9. And HJK Helsinki, the biggest team in Finland, are down in 5th. And a team called Ilves in 3rd. A lot of people say that's one of the best badges in world soccer. It's like a monster on their badge. It's a weird looking creature, whatever it might be. Ilves. Search that one up. Google that one, people. I'm getting very sidetracked now. Very, very sidetracked now. Get off tangent.
Getting ready for the summer, Steve.
I know. Yeah, Harry Doherty's got me off tangent there. Anyway, 72% of the money on the money line was on Real Betis, and 71% of the money on the over for this game. Prop bet $2,000 on Valencia over 2.5 corners at -244. And this match can, as a reminder, be watched on a live stream, Bet Rivers app, and on betrivers.com. Let's get into Saturday and Sunday's action, because, I mean, this is massive. This is the biggest game, really, in possibly world soccer in terms of the money at stake. Sheffield United against Sunderland, the playoff final. Up to $300 million potentially on the line here for the winner of this. This is life-changing for players, for clubs, for staff. And for the fans as well, it's really, really huge. Sunderland haven't been in the Premier League for, I can't remember how many years, Jack, maybe 8 years, 9, something along those lines. Sheffield United are the favourites, plus 123. Sunderland, plus 230. The tie is as short as plus 180. And under, but the goal line is actually around 2 on the Asian line. So, under 2.5 goals is, I think, around about minus 200 for this game. There's a lot of historical trends for unders here. You're going to break this game down for us. Give us the best bets for it. Tell us how it's going to be. And you're going to give us a winner as well. Who's going to get promoted?
Yeah, I'm going to try. And we had a few Sunderland fans in here, didn't we, last time? And I was talking up the chances of Coventry, and that didn't go so well. So let's see if I can do better this time round. Although I did think Coventry were unlucky, especially in that second leg. And that is kind of the first point to make, is that, yes, Sunderland have made it through to the playoff final, but they did lose that second leg, and it was at home, which kind of continued their end of season form to a certain degree. So maybe that first leg surprise win was a bit of an outlier, and they are going to revert back to type. To keep it brief on it, I just fancy Sheffield United. I can't see past them not winning this inside 90 minutes. They're plus money, which is something of a surprise to me. They've been the better side throughout the campaign. I think, we talked about it last time. Sunderland, first 10, 12 games were excellent and were keeping pace. It looked like it possibly was going to be a 4-horse race to get promoted automatically. They fell away. Understandably so. They finished, I think it was 13th last season. So the job that Regis Labrise has done there has been absolutely sensational to get them up into 4th and pretty much locked that playoff place down a long, long time ago. But I think they will just fall short against the Sheffield United side that, of course, were in the Premier League last season. They've rebuilt. Chris Wilder has done another manager's done an amazing job. He's gone a little bit under the radar because, well, they were in the Premier League last season, but they had to get rid of a lot of their players. They lost some key men. They've rebuilt. They've kept hold of a couple of players that I really, really, really like. They've got good strength on the bench. They play to their strengths. And we saw with Sunderland having a few problems with the long throw. And bringing their advertising boards in, didn't they? Remember, we were on that last show talking about that. And they aren't going to be able to do that this time round. And Jack Robinson's got a long throw for Sheffield United. I think that will cause them problems. Kiefer Moore is 6'5", 6'6". He's going to cause them problems. And I've got to say, great wing backs. I like Harrison Burrows. So anything connected to him going forward is a real good opportunity. He should also be on penalties as well, which is quite unusual for a left back or left wing back to be taking the penalties. And they've got an absolutely brilliant goalkeeper in Michael Cooper, who they picked up from Plymouth last summer, and he's been sensational. Would have been talked up a lot more, I think, if it hadn't been for the fact that James Trafford at Burnley was keeping like a clean sheet every single week. So they've got everything in that area. So they pushed Burnley and Leeds very close to getting that automatic promotion. Chris Wilder, as Sheffield United fan as well, this match will mean a huge amount to him. It's very rare you get a fan of the club managing the club, and that's what we've got with this one at Sheffield United. And so he knows what it means to the fans. It means so much to him. I can only imagine the videos if they do win after this, where he'll be dancing on the tables all over London. But I think he's kept them honest really well when they could have slipped away at the back end of that season, where they'd missed out on automatic promotion, but they still kept going well. And they obviously went into the playoffs, and the first side ever to get a 6-0 aggregate over the 2 legs in the Championship playoffs, swept Bristol City aside with ease, and will take a lot of confidence now going into this game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the key stat in this is the low amount of goals in the playoff finals, because I just think with so much at stake, even teams that are normally offensive and open, we expect goals with them, the game just tightens up. They just got Leeds Southampton last year, for example. That was a prime example of it. Players can freeze, managers can freeze. And, I just, based on that, I couldn't go anywhere near the goals. So for me, I'd be playing unders here. The 0-0 detector is in operation. I'd rather back no goal scorer, because this is the sort of game where you could get an own goal. Honestly, I think you could get an own goal from some set piece or something. That's the most likely thing for a goal. So, I mean, let's just talk betting though for you. I mean, you said Sheffield United there plus 123. Would that be a play on the money line for you? Would you be looking Asian handicap to win the trophy minus 155? What would be your angle there?
Yeah, I wouldn't go minus 155. Someone's mentioned it in the chat. They're already saying that Sunderland could well fluke the win. And I think there is a chance of that. And you're right. It's probably, for me, as they generally are, a game of fine margins. So would I want to be taking the minus 150? No. So that's why I'd always go with the money line in this game. I think they are the better side. They should win it. So I'm happy to take it at plus money play that they get it done in 90 minutes. They wouldn't want it to go to extra time. They certainly won't want it to go to penalties. So I'm going to take them. I said they've got the firepower and they've also got the players off the bench. You've got Callum O'Hare, who they picked up from Coventry, who was one of Coventry's best players. Coventry obviously just now missed out on the playoffs, but they were in the playoff final a couple of seasons ago. Callum O'Hare was a key part of that, although he picked up a big injury. He's on the bench for them. He scored in both legs of the semi-final. He could be on the bench, probably will be on the bench here again, but they've got that type of player to come off the bench and, when needed, maybe go and nick at that late winner. And as I say, their set pieces, Sunderland have shown a little bit of vulnerability. They're a young side. They've shown a little bit of vulnerability from set pieces, and I think Sheffield United will have that little bit too much aggression, that little bit too much know-how, a sprinkle of internationals in their side. And I say that aggressive streetwise nature, especially with the manager as well. So with those two in the dugout, I think it just points towards taking the money line, taking the plus money. If it means you lower your stake a little bit instead of going big on the minus 150, I'd certainly do that and say, well, they're going to get the job done in 90 minutes.
And what about player props then? I mean, for those who do fancy some goal scorers in this game, you will get some inflated odds because the goal line is so low, and possibly that expands into shots on target as well, or anything. So I'm sure you've got at least one player prop for us here, Jack. Fire away.
I did mention Harrison Burrows. I wouldn't put you off him. I say as a left wing back, he's a big price, but he will, unless they change it, he will be on penalties. So that could be what wins the game. Ball into the box, referee, VAR. I haven't actually checked who the referee is for this one. Cards we won't touch on because of the restrictions for a lot of the viewers, but that will be an angle for those that could play it. We'll likely get a Premier League referee for this one. And unfortunately, they do tend to make it a little bit about themselves sometimes, even in these big fixtures. We saw it a couple of seasons ago with Huddersfield in that one against Nottingham Forest, where the referee was kind of the talking point after it. But the player I've settled on is a player that I absolutely love, and I've loved from the second he came over to England and started playing. It's Gus Hamer. It's a bit of an obvious call, really. He's just the stardust in his side for me. And I remember watching him for Coventry when he played in his first or second game, and he smashed one in from range. And from that minute on, and he just smashed one in from range, and then he went and took someone out down by the corner flag. So he scored an outside the box strike, and then he went and got a yellow card. And for a better who likes both of those markets, it was a dream come true. So I'll keep an eye on him. And he did much of the same quite regularly for Coventry in that first season. He's obviously got his move now to Sheffield United. He was there last season. They've kept him. And I just think he's an absolute exceptional player. He'll be all over that front area. They played him out of position for a large part of the season, actually, and he still put up some great numbers. But he got a goal in that second leg of the semi-final, be it via a deflection, but beyond their set pieces, absolutely brilliant strike from distance he is. For anyone who hasn't seen him, absolutely one to keep your eye on. But he's box office because he'll be crunching into a tackle, he'll be making a foul, he'll be picking up a yellow card, then he'll be having a shot from 25 yards, he'll be hitting the bar, he'll be in the referee's face, he'll be pumping up the crowd, and he's just one of those players you love to watch. So any variant on him, really, to be fair, for me, is the one I'd be going at. 10 goals, 7 assists across the season from these 43 appearances. So 17 goal involvements, one every 193 minutes, which is a decent return. But just looking across all these different markets that you could play, a shot on target plus 114, I think is a big price for that kind of man. You normally look at the striker, but that's Kiefer Moore. His role is to be the battering ram. His role is to hold the ball up, lay it off to the more skillful and technically gifted players. So that's where I think they'll go with that. Plus 114 for a shot on target. He's plus 255 to score or assist. As I said, 17 goal involvements across the season so far. So that's certainly one that is well catching the eye. So the shot on targets, by the way, he had 30 shots on target across the campaign, and he's had at least 1 in 3 of his last 5 games. what I do like, watered down, if you want something a bit more, so minus 134 is for him to have over 1.5 shots. He's had 2 or more in 4 of his last 5 games, 11 of the last 18. He's had over 1.5 shots. So for me, any of those variants, depending on your sort of taste, but the one I'd really zoom in on, I'd be shocked if he doesn't have at least 2 shots in this game.
He's going to be the best player on the field. That's what I will say, Jack. Quite clearly the best player on the field. And if Sheffield United don't go up, I struggle to see how they keep him, to be honest with you. Because I think he would do a job in any top flight league, really. Chris Cavan is the referee for the game. Thanks very much for that, Harry Doherty. And he likes Kiefer Moore as well to score. Ming Chung says Sunderland could fluke the win and defend well. I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from. If Sunderland do win it, we know how they're going to win it. It'll be great. It won't be particularly pretty, will it? It'll be backs to the wall, counter-attack goal sort of thing. Thanks for your comments, by the way, Ming, on the Euro show. I noticed you put one on the Premier League show as well. It was a very interesting comment you made on the Premier League show, suggesting something called a giant dog for next season. I mean, that got my ears pricked back. Yeah, I was thinking giant dog. What a great idea. Yeah. But appreciate you, Ming. Go on.
You know, I was just going to say something I forgot to mention was the fact that there was both the home sides won the regular season games, so not giving us much of a tell there, and they were both won by a single goal. But we could get a bit of entertainment in this one because both games featured a missed penalty by the losing side, so we're close there. So if this one does the penalty, there'll be a bit of nerves on that one as well. One of the games featured 2 red cards, and there was also an own goal. So there's a bit of everything in the regular season for these two sides, and so with the home seeds proven victorious on both occasions.
Heads to the Bet Rivers Game Prop Specials, where you can bet on an own goal, you can bet on teams to score a penalty awarded, and of course, if you can access the card markets, you'll be able to bet on a red card as well, and that is plus 360 actually red card given. Yes, in terms of the betting splits for this game. At the moment, 64% of the money on Sheffield United on the money line, and 65% of that money on the over-under market is on under. That's a lot of money on the under. Not often you see more money on that under rather than the over, but I certainly see why. And someone's actually backed 0-0. $500 on the 0-0 correct score at plus 550. I totally concur with that one. Well,
Nigel sold his 0-0 detector for the last weekend of the Premier League season. I think he reeled off some stats on the show. If you want to go and check that out, he'll tell you how likely a 0-0 is on the last day. So he's obviously sent it away, and it's now been activated for the playoff final to see who gets into the Premier League.
The cards line is over 4.5 cards at minus 137. James F. And it reminds me of the Premier League final day. Where's everyone got to be? At on Sunday afternoon, 2:30 over here in the UK. We've got a live betcast, Jack. Me, you, and Nigel are going to be going through the whole card as the goals go in. We're going to have in-play suggestions, some pre-match bets as well when we know the lineups. So it should be really exciting, Jack. Looking forward to that one.
Absolutely. Do you know what? It's still the most memorable show. And I've been on some really great shows, of course I have, over the last couple of years. But that is still the one that really sticks in my mind as an absolute great laugh to be on. It was phenomenal. It was really exciting as well, even though there wasn't loads of jeopardy on it. There'll be more this year, I think, with the conundrums with the Champions League places. But it was such a good part. It was good to be part of. And the comments coming through, like on the live shows we do here, but obviously with all the goals going in, and obviously as soon as we see anything that we'd like to get involved in, we'll put out the bets in place. So absolutely brilliant show to be part of. And you obviously you did a similar one only this week with James and Nigel for the Europa League. So that's a flavour for what's to come.
Well, they're quite good shows really, because you can ask quite a lot of questions. Doesn't even have to be related to the actual match, betting strategies, things like that. Same for the Champions League final. We're doing one. Me, you, and Dan Roebuck's going to be in the host chair for that particular edition. Chris Graham, good to see you in. Thanks for your comments as well today on the Euro show. I think he suggested that I should have took the week off sick to guarantee myself profit for the season. Which I think that's that one. Never do it. That was a good one. And producer Troy's there. It's going to be. Yes, there's going to be
Sorry,
some more.
you worried me when you said we're doing it from 2:30. Are we doing it from 2:30? That's like the game's kick off at
3:30. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up with the start times. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry,
You asked me where I needed to be at
Confused me there.
2:30. I have no idea where I need to be at 2:30, but I'll be there at 3:30 for certain.
It's 10:30 Eastern time, right?
Yeah.
That's the key stat
Yes,
there.
it is.
But there will be more giveaways, as producer Troy puts there. Some trivia contests, and there will be some merch given out. Possibly this sort of thing here. Don't think the jackets are on offer, but you never know, do you?
No, that's
Tobias Depler, good to see you. Just at me on X. Tobias is a good way to get hold of me. Best bet today will come at that before at the end of the show. But we've got one more playoff match to discuss. We're not going to talk about the League Two final because we're back on Monday for that. Me and you, Jack.
Of course we are. Of course we are.
So, but we do have this
bank holiday, so we get double time for that. Of course we're there.
Yeah, we like to bring out the bank holiday rota. And Charlton Athletic against Leyton Orient is the League One playoff final. Nathan Jones. Now, Charlton were. I think everyone tipped out Charlton on these shows to win the playoffs. So there might be quite a few out there with tickets on Charlton Athletic. Can Nathan Jones finish the job off? I mean, he the scene with 30 seconds to go in the semi-final, he was literally praying on the ground, desperate for the final whistle to go. He brings some antics with him, doesn't he, Nathan Jones? Charlton at plus money in 90 minutes to win the game. Will they get the job done, do you think, against Leyton Orient?
I've got to say yes, because of the fact that I tipped them up at the start of the process. But this is a really tough one to call, and it could well be a very similar to what we talked about there. There's so much at stake, even at this level now, to get into the championship. You know, I can't remember the last time Leyton Orient were in the second tier. Charlton, again, it was a long while ago. They've been out of those top divisions for such a long while now. So much at stake for the players as well. I do fancy Charlton to get it done because they've got the tools that could really hurt Leyton Orient, and I also think defensively there's not many better than them. So at plus money again, it just swings it for me. So, but Leyton Orient, both these sides, what you will say about them is both of them come into this final in exceptional form. The back end of the regular season, Charlton won 7 of their last 10, and Leyton Orient won all their last 6. So, you know, differences again, two horrible games. Charlton against Wycombe. Sorry, Wycombe fans in the chat. But yeah, I think they got the job done just about. Whereas Leyton Orient was a much more entertaining game. A few contentious situations against Stockport, but that obviously went all the way to penalties, and so they've had a little bit more of an effort to get there. But yeah, you're right about Nathan Jones. Another one who's absolute box office.
Well, with Jones in the dugout, I mean, I looked at the cars line here, 3.5. I mean, he could just incite anything if this match really tips over. Matt Godden took plus 215 to score anytime. That's going to be a popular bet in the game. Fox in the box, as he's known as. Any player props catch your eye here?
Yeah, I got a few. But what I was going to say is you mentioned it already for the last game, and you said because of the very low expectation of goals, and this is another one that has a low or no expectation of goals, you're then getting a little bit of juice as far as the players are concerned. Now, this one could be different because I think there could be an early goal on this, and if there is an early goal, suddenly the whole game plan changes, doesn't it? So a few players I've just pinpointed for people just to keep an eye on. I'll start with the Charlton players. You mentioned in there, Matty Godden, ex-Coventry player, 19 goals for the season, top scorer for them, 9 in his last 12 as well. So he's ended the season hot. It's plus 215 to score. He's plus 160 for over 1.5 shots on target. So again, if we are going down the road of no goals or few goals, then that could be a way in. He had over 3.5 shots in 3 of his last 5 starts. So that works quite well for him. As you say, Fox in the box. But they are very strong at set pieces, and they'll target Leyton Orient as Stockport did at set pieces. And therefore, their 2 centre-backs are key players to look out for. You've got Macaulay Gillespie, centre-back, stands. Both these are about 6'3", 6'4" in height. So they're big lads that go into the box for these corners, free kicks, throw-ins. Now, Gillespie is interested. He's scored 5 goals across the campaign. He's plus 1050 to score at any time. So that's a decent shout. Again, one of these games are the sort of games that possibly could well get settled by a set piece. His partner in crime, Lloyd Jones, a little bit taller, but he's only scored 3 goals. he has more shots. He's had 13 shots in his last 8 starts for Charlton, and he's plus 750 to score, and he's plus 400 to have a shot on target. So those two I would look at because they will look to make the most of those set pieces. For Leyton Orient, a player for me, he's an absolute gem of a player. He's on loan from Spurs. Not the obvious candidate I'll come on to next, but Jamie Donnelly on loan from Spurs, an absolute gem of a player, especially at League One level. 8 goals, 10 assists across the campaign. Some of those assists have been absolutely world class. Seeing some of them that are brilliant. He'll try like outrageous balls to happy to break that through. So I've gone with him from having 10 assists across the season. I'm going with him to plus 550 for an assist. He's had 5 assists in his last 8 games. So in really good form on that respect. Their top scorer, Charlie Kelman, on loan from Queen's Park Rangers. 23 goals for the campaign, 8 in his last 8. He's plus 265 to score. That speaks for itself. And the final one of their wing-backs, both their wing-backs really push up high. Key parts of how they play. Ethan Galbraith had 7 assists across the campaign, 2 assists in his last 3 starts, and he's plus 1,200 if you want something really juicy for an assist in this one. And I think because of the low nature of the goals, I'd possibly be inclined to go and put Godden and Kelman together in the same game parlay, because if one scores, you got as much chance, I think, really, of both of them scoring as you've got one scoring. So stick those together. But they're the players that I'd focus on. Whatever floats your boat on there's plenty to pick out of.
Very interesting breakdown of both the playoff finals there, Championship and League One. That match, by the way, 8 o'clock in the morning. Eastern time. That kicks off quite an early kickoff time, ahead of the Premier League final round, of course. And the League Two final, we will go through that on Monday. It's me and Jack on the live show again. I'm just looking at the slate for Monday. There's Allsvenskan games. There's one Elite Serie A game in Norway, and it had to be, didn't it? The Bundesliga relegation second leg is on Monday. I can't escape them one more time.
Now we know why you're on. That's why you're on.
I just see. I thought for some reason that was on like Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So anyway, best bet for today. My best bet for today would have to be. It's a tough day, isn't it? Really. But I'm going to go with that Valencia double chance. I think against Real Betis. Did quite like that SGP that I lined up there. Under 3.5 goals. Double chance on Valencia and Cucho Hernandez over 0.5 shots. But what would your best bet today be?
You've got to do that now. Yeah, Hamer 1.5 shots is my best bet from what we've talked about. But the best one today is going to be Scott McTominay over 1.5 shots on target, or Bray Wanderers to win in Republic of Ireland League One.
Oh yeah, you've got them, haven't you? You can bet on the League of Ireland, second tier of Ireland. What's the actual second tier called? First division. Bray Wanderers.
Keep it simple.
Against Wexford Youths, minus 118. What a name that is.
Yeah, money for them, yeah. They were plus 100 this morning, but money come for them. Mark my words. Strong bet that.
There you go. League of Ireland in play as well. RHM, good to see you. Napoli under 3.5. Inter Milan under 4.5, and Real Betis money line at 10-1.
Cool.
I mean, I don't see why Betis are the favourites, RHM.
Yeah,
because I just think they're going to be totally distracted by the Conference League final. But 10-1, I mean, to be fair, that's not, I can never ever put off anyone back in a 10-1 shot. Do you know where I'm coming from, Jack? Yeah. Because you're going to get value, potentially value, but I'll be wary of them.
We've had question marks against. They have been. They are very good, very good. Inter Milan. We had question marks about Inter Milan and the game state there, and question marks about Betis' motivation. So, for me, I wouldn't. But as you say, at 10-1, you're not going to be losing a lot, I don't suppose. So, yeah. But for me, I'd say something lets you down there.
Well, thank you very much, Jack. I've completely lost track of the timekeeping in this episode. We've gone nearly an hour, but we've had great fun. Time flies when you're enjoying yourself, right? Now, French Open starting very, very soon, of course. And check out all the latest Game Bet Match episodes. Rory Tirani with Nigel as well. And then, of course, tennis live next week. It's going to be a huge week of action at Roland Garros. And the Betcast on Sunday, 10:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 in the UK. Me, Jack, and Nigel. But from this edition of Betting Weekly Live, it is goodbye. Take care, y'all.